Welcome to the Romani Tea Room, a podcast series by the European Roma Rights Centre, talking about Romani activism, history and culture. So pour yourself a cup of tea, pull up a chair and join us.
Hello everyone, I'm Sophie Datishvili and I'm happy to be back with the brand new season and brand new episode of the Romani Tea Room. This is a podcast series where we discuss Roma rights, Romani culture, and a lot of interesting details far beyond this. It has been a while that we didn't have the new episode. The last one was uploaded on our platforms in 2022, quite a long gap. And this episode, we will have a very interesting guest whom I felt like she should have been my first guest on the opening season. I was putting off starting of the new episode, and beyond this there was my fear that I would fail because together with my colleagues we decided to change the format, change the style of storytelling, change a lot of things in this podcast, and I wasn't sure whether I was ready for this or not. So I was putting off, and at some point I understood that it's time to do something because it's a really powerful platform for the European Roma Rights Centre. So here we are. I thought that first guest should be someone with whom I would feel very comfortable and very relaxed, and this was Ana Jovanović. She has become part of the ERC recently. She works on the direction of LGBT+ rights, and she's been doing a really amazing job.
To tell more about her, Ana Jovanović is a Romani trans woman from Serbia.
I have written several social media posts about her for the ERC's social media channels, which, by the way, you should definitely subscribe if you have not yet. And we had several face-to-face interactions as well. And I reached her out with my request, where I asked her to be my first guest, explaining also my insecurities about language barriers, about the gap which we had in releasing new episodes. And she supported me in its best way. And this is how it all happened. We talked about how is it like to live in Serbia and be in the crossroads of the two identities. First one is to be a Roma, and another one to be a trans woman. I found out that equality index of the LGBT rights in Serbia is 44 out of 100 points. On paper, everything looks above average, which means that it has normal points in terms of the legislation, but when it comes to the public opinion score, it's really low. It's 21 points. Let's go to the interview part. Here's a little detail which I wanted to confess with you, is that the interview is recorded on Zoom, and unfortunately on this platform it's sometimes impossible to control the recording quality. But the guest of the show is so inspiring that I'm sure you will listen to this interview till the end. Right after the musical break, we'll be back with the interview and with Ana Jovanović. So I'm happy that we're opening new season of the Romani Tea Room with you and me conversation, because you're doing a quite amazing job for the ERC, and as you work as an LGBT+ human rights activist. ERC has always been about diversity and at some point for LGBTQI rights, especially when we talk about an organization whose president is openly gay, I mean Georgia Jovanović. And who's also Roma at the same time. But it's really great having you in this team. And can you share with us your experience so far and tell us more about your role at the ERC?
So first of all, I'm so grateful and thank you for this word, because I really want to make an impact, a difference. And, Georgia actually recognized my work because I was doing some activistical things, let's say, here in Serbia. And Georgia really gave me the opportunity to join ERC and actually do my activism here. So basically, what I do at ERC is still, planning and doing the strategic program, LGBTQI program that will be, you know, um, for the long run. We, together with Georgia, we're planning to put ERC out there as an organization that is very LGBT friendly,
Mm-hmm.
um, among other things, of course. We want to raise the visibility of LGBT plus Roma because we are quite invisible. We belong to the Roma community, but somehow no organization or a few of LGBT organizations are mentioning us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a great opportunity. So within the ERC, I participate in project writing. I
Mm-hmm.
had developed this strategic program. So ERC, when you say strategic program, it's like, strategy needs time to develop. So we are really doing it slowly and step by step.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's about it, shortly. Like,
Absolutely, because now it's like really visible that LGBT plus rights are in the agenda of the ERC. Although we have always been like open for this kind of litigation or advocacy works, we now have somehow formulated and positioned ourselves as the organization working in the field of cross sectionality, I would say, and bringing LGBT Roma rights to the same level as other kind of human rights violations, which unfortunately we have to deal with. So it's already visible, I would say.
yeah. And I'm also proud, especially because, trans women are not that visible, especially Roma trans women. And I became a part of ERC, and I think this is the first time ever that a Roma organization is having someone who is also trans within their, coworkers or activists, however you want to say. And it's a huge, huge step because in Serbia, we also, at least in Serbia, we have some Roma organizations, but they never mention this topic. It's still very, very
Mm-hmm.
controversial. And ERC, as an European organization, has a huge visibility. And, when they put a trans woman like so visible, it has a powerful, powerful effect.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. Anna, now I'm talking to Ana Jovanović, but I cannot keep the topic Paula Yo. For those who are not familiar with Paula Yo, is your drag queen alter ego, I would say. So, how do you get into the dazzling world of drag culture?
Well, in Serbia, drag is something new, something that came across maybe a few years ago. So I decided to use it as also as an activistic tool, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but also for myself because drag is all about makeup, all about wigs, all about
Mm-hmm.
femininity, and I use drag also to explore my own identity as a trans woman.
Mm-hmm.
But then, with time, I started to have a lot of fun with it. So I really started doing it in a country like Serbia, where it was new. It was like something that I've never seen before, and maybe you know about the big show that's called uh, RuPaul Drag Race.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a very, very famous show, but I didn't know about it. But just the concept of drag, just the concept of putting the makeup on and be fabulous was
Uh-huh.
very, 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 tempting for me. So in 2019, the first parade, or how do you say it, pride,
Mm-hmm.
happened in Novi Sad, in my city. And within the Pride week, there was this event called Drag Up Your Life. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
first time that I actually approached to any LGBT organization or people even, because before that I was really isolated and scared about my own identity, which we will probably speak later. But yes, drag is a big, big tool, I would say, not
Mm-hmm.
only art. It's tool that you can use for whatever you think you can use. So there are comedy drag queens, there are dancing drag queens, acting drag queens. For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a mix of everything. But I use
Are you the only drag queen of Romani origin in your community?
actually, actually, I'm not, which was
Oh.
fabulous for me to discover. But there are few of us, just few. Like I could name two. There's
Mhm.
two other Roma drag queens. Um, but yeah, they're from another city. They're from Belgrade, but we know each other, and we were like, oh my god.
That's amazing. You are talking about the hidden meaning of the drag culture. So, drag is known for its vibrant colors, love, and pursuit of equality. But beneath all these glitz and glams, there is some kind of deep meaning, which is also connected to the activism at some point. So, for those who doesn't know it, can you explain them what it is, why it is important for the LGBT plus community, and why is it such an integral part of the pop culture and gay activism?
Well, somehow drag um, existed like forever. Before, I don't know, in the history, like women were not allowed to perform on the scene at all. So it was mainly done by men who were, wearing wigs and
Mm-hmm.
dresses, and they men would play the role of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So with years, it started to become like a crucial part of LGBT culture. Without drag queens, there would not be, uh, you know, the drag scene that we know it today. So it has a strong historical origin, and mostly, you know, some people criticize drag because they think that it's degraded, degraded for women, when it's actually not. It's actually very,
Yes.
very
Mm-hmm.
empowering. And yeah, some of uh, first activists were actually drag queens, and trans women, and drag transformed into different um, forms. Because before, uh, being a drag queen was something that only gay men were doing, but then it spread on trans women and other gender identities. So it is very, very important, like activistically, also for personal development. So I really, really, really like the concept of drag at all. I mean, just having this opportunity is amazing. But as we know today, it becomes such a mainstream, like RuPaul's Drag Race, that's
Yes.
worldwide familiar, and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's not necessarily be a trans woman, but some bisexual men or women or even heterosexual people are engaged in these shows, and it's removing all the boundaries.
Yes, Actually, it is. I mean, the drag shows uh, were meant to be created for people who want to express themselves and they cannot do it in public, for example. This
Mm-hmm.
is why, LGBT people were always creating their own safe places. So there would always, through history, there would always be some hidden bars with where they would meet and create balls, doing
Mm-hmm.
drag shows, just being yourself, allowing yourself to be yourself because reality is different. People are judging, people are hating. In some countries, they even kill not only drag queens, I mean they kill LGBT people. So this is why I enjoy doing drag because when you go to a drag show, you can see all the creativity, all the freedom, all the love, as you mentioned as well, because it's so harmless, it's so beautiful, and people hate it. People would really love us to be gone, which is very sad.
Yes, we will get back to that part, very sad part of activism and self-expression a little bit later. But here's a question to you. What is your go-to music and song to perform on the drag show?
Well, I love Cher very much.
Oh, I
Um,
love her so much. I love everything about Cher.
yeah, so I love the song that's called "Strong Enough," and
Strong enough, yeah.
yes, it has such a powerful message, and I love doing it. But of course, I mean, I sometimes choose some Serbian songs, and it all depends on the mood. Like if I
Mhm.
feel sad or if I want to, send some kind of message. It depends also on my private life. Am I in love or am I like disappointed? So it all has its own. Like I told you, drag is so creative and it's art also. So however you express it, people will see that and will appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. But I can imagine that your journey to this point hasn't been very easy, and we still feel some kind of glimpse of this sad parts of this discrimination, pressure from the society. But at the same time, you are from Roma community. It must have been quite a journey to live in the traditional patriarchal community, especially when it comes to coming out within the Romani family and its customs and traditions. What was that experience like for you? Let's start with this, and later on, I will be also interested in your some advices to the people.
Well, we all have different circumstances in life. For me, I was lucky actually, because
What do you
I
mean?
actually I moved from Roma settlement where I was living,
Mm-hmm.
together with my family, of course. We moved to another house,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have to go through, all the looks and all the prejudice, when going through the
Mm-hmm.
settlement, and so I had lucky that we went to a neighborhood that makes. There are some Roma that live here, but it's not only Roma, so it's mixed neighborhoods and
It's
people
inclusive, yeah.
are. It helped a lot uh, because
Although we are talking about Serbia right now.
yeah, yeah. Although we're talking about Serbia, it helped me a lot not live in Roma settlement
Mm-hmm.
because like all Roma settlements, they're quite isolated and there are these traditional things and these rules. Every settlement has its own, so it would actually be quite um, unsafe for me to stay also there. But like I said, the circumstances were like that, so that we moved. Otherwise, it would be way more difficult for me to come out in that kind of environment. Um, So we moved to another house in another neighborhood, and then I could actually educate my parents about what is going on, about what being a trans woman means. So I could talk with them and, you know,
So you started giving them the information before you actually told them who you really were. Any
so it was,
tips? Any tips how to do this?
yeah, well, I don't know if I am lucky, maybe because my parents are they love me very much, and they just said, I mean, you are our child no matter what, but of course that other parents can be more
Mm-hmm.
drastic. They could,
Yeah.
react very differently. So for me, it would be like, I mean, your parents, check out, how do you think that they will react first? So
Mm-hmm.
try to, to bring up the topic of LGBT. I don't know, mention some LGBT singer or famous personality and see how they react.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know, I was speaking with my parents about the Pride event when it came about. So I could see their reaction. I could see when we were discussing how they react. And then I actually thought, okay, I think I could gradually speak about it with them. And then, of course, I mean, I don't know, every family is different, but for me, I saw, oh, my mom is more acceptable. I will talk with her first. So then I talked first with my mother because I knew that she will support me no matter what. And then this is how you get your ally. I mean, my mother then spoke with my stepfather because I lived with my mother and stepfather. So she did the job with him.
I like this this
This is
term, ally in the family.
you really have to be smart because this is a very sensitive topic.
Exactly. How old were you?
It was like 2 years ago. I was 32,
Mm-hmm.
33, something like that. So it was a process. I came out in my 30s, which is also an interesting topic because people often come out earlier in their life, and for me it was a process. So as you can see, I have been educating my parents for years
Mm-hmm.
before I realized. But then, of course, I educated myself as well about gender identity, about what does LGBTQI plus mean. I met some people, I spoke to people. I was discovering my own identity like step by step. I really gave myself time.
Yes, that's very interesting point that you made. You educated your parents. They raise us and they educate us at first, but when we grow up and when we become adults, there is our turn to educate them and to teach them and explain things. You mentioned before that unfortunately a lot of Roma communities live in segregated neighborhoods, go to segregated schools, and this is a big issue that the RRC is also trying to somehow solve through the litigations and advocacy. But activism and inclusion are very important aspect of the LGBT plus journey. Is it also a way you think it will change the homophobic mood of the communities, like, for example, it is Roma community?
Yes, I think especially now what ERC is doing, like it will go slowly, but I think it will finally change the way people see us. You mentioned like litigation and segregated schools. Those are big issues. Also, housing, education, health. Roma organizations are really focused on that. But then again, completely ignoring that some people who are, from Roma settlement and facing housing problems or health problems or even this segregation problem can be a different sexual orientation or gender identity as well, which is another layer of problem that people are not aware. So I was when I joined ERC and when I was talking to Georgia, this is one of my concerns. Like, how can we make at least Roma organization less homo transphobic? Because they are so focused on these huge issues, which are very important, and now all of a sudden we show up with this topic, with LGBTQI plus topic. But then again, it's human rights. Like you cannot separate LGBT rights from human rights.
Of course.
It's the same, but people, especially from Balkan, people, especially in Roma NGOs, like they don't realize that if they're dealing with the Roma issues, which are human rights issues, they should also be at least aware about LGBT plus issues and problems because with time, they will face with it. It's only a matter of time when they will come across someone from the community who is gay, lesbian, or trans, So like I said, it's baby steps, and I'm really like looking forward to be a part of this change. It will be hard. It really will. But we started from somewhere. Like, at least we will do some projects that will at least, raise awareness that, hey, Roma LGBT people exist.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it, So like this podcast as well. This is also a tool, which is a very nice tool. I love podcasts, and it can reach a lot of people, and it can make them think at least.
Do you think that pop culture also plays a big role in this? Because you talked about RuPaul's show, who has, I don't know, 14 season already.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a huge, huge show which has multiple Emmys and so on. And also, we see a lot of TikTokers. One of them, Dylan Mulvaney, who is trans woman, has the audience of if we take population of Serbia and at population of North Macedonia, probably, yeah, she has 10 millions of followers. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Which is
that's
insane. Yes. Do you think that taking these kind of conversations in social media, in influencers, and in shows also benefits to the community?
Of course. I mean, I don't know if you heard, but in Germany there is like RuPaul Drag Race, but German.
No,
And
I have not. Oh.
yeah, so now it's like every country there is in Spain, like RuPaul Drag Race Spain, RuPaul Drag Race Germany, and for us, for example, for our Balkans, like Germany is very close, and RuPaul Drag Race has Roma participants. It's Ana Jovanović.
I know Johnny. I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
Johnny. Oh my God, he became so famous now. I mean, you know that Johnny is an activist. He's openly gay man. He is speaking about his experience, and now he's in a show. Like that's a huge, huge, huge success, and I think it has a huge impact. A huge, huge impact. Of course, everything is in German. We would need to translate and we don't have it here in Serbia. But I think it's very good. I think he is using his platform to educate people, of course. He's speaking about his experience in every interview. Just his appearance there in the show is like amazing. So it has its power, of course. You mentioned Dylan. Dylan is great. But with all that fame, of course, we have to be also careful because also some danger is coming with it. So
What
we
do you
really,
mean?
well, when you're popular in that way, you are really subjected also to hate comments,
Mm-hmm.
possible attacks,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. You really have to take full responsibility on how you use your popularity and how you use these shows and TV programs. For me personally, it's still a big issue. I still don't have this confidence to go at some TV show or to have my own TikTok. For me, right now, the most what I can do is drag,
Mm-hmm.
but then that's very also segregated. It's only in LGBT clubs. No one actually, if you don't go to the club, you cannot hear what I have to say, for example. So this Instagram or this show, it's very powerful because I mean it's 21st century. We have internet, we have TVs. People inform themselves by watching different content online. So it's perfect tool as well.
I see what you mean. Yes, exactly. Oh, everybody has their own platform. So if your platform of making statements is your drag show, you're free to choose your platform and your comfort zones at the same time. So enjoy it, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
And thank you for your time.
You're very, 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 very welcome.
So that's all for today. A very inspiring interviewee, and I'm very happy that she agreed to be in the opening episode of this season. And finally, stay tuned for the next episodes. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We have the page of the Romani Tea Room. Also, we regularly upload the new episodes on the European Roma Rights Centre's Facebook page. You can find us also on Instagram and on X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you for tuning in to the Romani Tea Room. Until next time.